Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
So I am going to read you first some words from, we have the Torah and the Haftarah. So the Haftarah are readings from the prophets. It's not a half a Torah. It's readings from the prophets that are aligned with the Torah portion. And because this is Shabbat Hagadol, this one is aligned with this Shabbat. This Shabbat is also Metzora, which is we're going through all of the laws of leprosy and things like that you've been hearing about for the last couple of weeks. But this is the Haftarah from Achi, and I'll read to you. Then the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem shall be pleasing to the Lord, as in the days of yore, and in the days and years of old. But first, I will step forward to contend against you, and I will act as a relentless accuser against those who have no fear of me, who practices sorcery, who commit adultery, who swear falsely, who cheat laborers of their fair share of earnings, and who subvert the cause of the widow, the orphan, the stranger. Yes, this was said by the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I have not changed, and you are the children of Jacob. You have not ceased to be. From the very days of your fathers, you have turned away from my laws. You have not observed them. Turn back to me, and I will turn back to you, said the Lord of hosts. But you ask, how shall we turn back? Ought man defraud God? Yet you are defrauding me, and you ask, how have we been defrauding you? In tithe and contribution. You are suffering under a curse, yet you go on defrauding me, the whole nation of you. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, and let there be food in my house, and thus put me to the test. Thus said the Lord of hosts. I will then surely open the floodgates of the sky for you and pour down blessings upon you, bountiful blessings. And I will banish the locusts from you, so that they will not destroy the yield of your soil, and your vines in the field shall no longer miscarry. And all of the nations shall account you happy, for you shall be the most desired of lands, said the Lord of hosts. You have spoken harsh words against me, said the Lord. But you ask, what have we been saying among ourselves against you? You have said, it is useless to serve God. What have we gained by keeping his charge and walking in abject awe of the Lord of hosts? And so we account the arrogant happy. They have indeed done evil and endured. They have indeed dared God and escaped. In this vein have those who revere the Lord been talking to one another. The Lord has heard, and the Lord has noted it, and a scroll of remembrance has been written at his behest concerning those who revere the Lord and esteem his name. And on the day that I am preparing, said the Lord of hosts, they shall be my treasured possession. I will be tender toward them as a man is tender toward a son who ministers to him. And you shall come to see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between him who has served the Lord and him who has not served the Lord. For lo, that day is at hand, burning like an oven. All the arrogant and all the doers of evil shall be straw, and that day is coming, said the Lord of hosts. That day we shall burn them to ashes and leave them neither stock nor boughs. But for you who revere my name, a son of victory shall rise to bring healing. You shall go forth and stamp like stall-fed calves, and you shall trample the wicked to a pulp, for they shall be dust beneath your feet on the day that I am preparing. We are all waiting for this day. Be mindful of the teaching of my servant Moses, whom I charged at Horeb with laws and rules for all Israel. Lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Lord. He shall reconcile parents with children and children with parents, so that when I come, I do not strike the whole land with utter destruction. And we know about that. Think of the time of Noah. Lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Lord. So what does this mean for us today? As we contemplate Passover amidst such horrific turbulence and confusion. Years ago, I was in the valley buying some things at Shalom House, which many of us have taken a trip. And there was this homeless man. And he was asking for some money. I gave him some. And he had children with him. And the strangest thing was that I then left that area and went to a completely different area of LA. And there was this homeless man and his children. And he asked for money. And it was the same man. It is said that there are messengers around us, watching us all the time. I have moved into a senior community and they are watching me all the time. Rabbi with the red hair, I just called the main gate to main person to discuss this. So the reality is, eyes are on us. The angels are watching us at Shabbat. That's why we sing Shalom Aleichem. They're watching to see who's peeking through the window. They're peeking through the window to see if we're naughty or nice, to see if we're observing Shabbat. But God is watching. We don't know. But there's energy in the universe. And what I say at High Holy Days, character is what we do when nobody is around us. But it's also what we do when someone's right in front of us and we want to turn away and not think about them. You know, we have some people who are complaining about some of our meals that we go out because some people are paying less than others and some people don't want to give 20% tip and some people want to give 10%. You know what? Give. Be grateful that you're sitting at the table and that person is serving you. And guess what? They're dealing with some really cranky people. And you know what? Sometimes those cranky people are us. So, this is Shabbat Hagadol, which corresponds to Parsha Metzora this year, which is the big Parsha of leprosy. 1 year for the adult mitzvah class, we were going to do this, and they all had a big fit, and we didn't do it, and we switched to Kiddushim, which was the holiness code. But Metzora can be actual boils and skin problems that happen on your body and also in your home. I know Pat referred to that in her words last Shabbat. But it's also slander. Bad speech. Miriam, there was gossip about Moses, and she got leprosy. Okay, so it's also, people don't liken it to that slanderous bit of what could happen when we speak Lashon Hara, gossip. But when I did the wedding on Saturday, some of you have had me do weddings in your families. There's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 of you out there, but 5 or 6 weddings. I took the glass, I put it down. We were in this very tight space, and it was starting to roll towards the bride's dress. So I picked it up, turned it face down, and it didn't smash. So of course the groom, who is my son, my stepson, is horrified. So then I wrap it all up really tight, and I put it on its side, and he smashes it. And so later on we're talking to him, and I said to him, it's like when we light the candles, and sometimes we have to work a little harder. Smashing that glass obliterates negativity. And this was a glorious wedding. It cost a lot of money, and he was able to pay for most of it. And he's in his early 30s because he did well in his work. And in the bathroom, someone was overheard gossiping about, well, how beautiful it was and how much money was spent on it. And oh, well, we're doing well, as if to say. And I said to him, I didn't want to share this with you, but there was negativity, there was jealousy, there was envy, and you had to obliterate it. And I'm sorry, but that's the human condition. King David, that many people have, Saul, why is this person getting all this and I'm not getting this? It's for God to judge. We don't know. But the reality is there's negativity in this world and around us all the time. That's where people wear the red string, the Kabbalists. That's why people put a red string on a baby's crib. That's why people don't want to even talk about being pregnant for a while, because the evil eye is around us. That is why I have a bracelet with red rubies and a ring, because there's negativity all around us. So, what do we do about this? Take care of our own business, keep our slate clean, keep going forward. And you know, sometimes you just got to kill them with kindness. And hopefully, they will be reborn in a happier state of being. Another portion that discusses the further affliction of Sara'at. This is the disease, I said, a blemish like leprosy that can affect not only people or houses. This is the last week, the week before, all of this time. What is it doing? It's leading us right up to Passover so that we can clean ourselves of the things that blemish us, and they're not just necessarily sores, that blemish our soul. We have a physical vessel which houses our soul, and we have our physical dwelling which houses everything that we hold dear in the physical world, our family, our mementos, our possessions, a place where we are supposed to celebrate and observe Shabbat, and yes, too, have Passover Seders, those that are coming, like we're going to do next week. This is our temple home. It says on your prayer books, Mishkan Tefillah, a dwelling place, the home, the house of prayer. All are meant to be holy vessels through which God can then dwell and manifest goodness, everything that we've been promised. But we have to be pure. We have to earn it. Elijah could be watching us. Messengers are watching us all the time. What are we doing? I know there's many of you here that donate all of your time here in the temple and in other places. Sunny, I was hoping I could find you on Monday so I could turn in my tax return after 5, not for me, but for my son, but he didn't really have to fill one out anyway. But I was like, where's Sunny? She works at the post office. Maybe she can sneak it around the back. Character's what you do when no one's looking. So, as our Haftarah portion suggests, we have strayed from God in our own ways at different moments. If you think you haven't, think again. From our belief, which is at times questioning and even accusatory at times, amidst the distress that we are feeling in our days when there was COVID, where is God? Everything that's going on in the Middle East, where is God? Our world condition, let's blame it on God. And when there's tragedy in our lives, where is God? God's position is for us not to lose heart, not to lose faith, and our commitment. And if we do this, we will be rewarded. And we don't know if it's going to be in this lifetime or the next, but the next one's much longer. Evil will be overturned, and the righteous will prevail. We can only pray and hope that this is true. Emet. We are never supposed to act for the sake of reward or for the fear of punishment. The choices we make must spring from our heart and spring from our soul, mindful of the eternal, but coming from us. Life is short. What lies beyond and possible judgment is much greater. And on this Shabbat Hagadol, this great Shabbat, we are supposed to get this sermon to remind us. Passover is an annual exercise in remembrance and order. Seder means order. What are we supposed to remember? The miracles that God manifested for us and continues to manifest for us if we just open up our eyes and our hearts to see. Amidst the darkness and the chaos, there is resilience and faith and love and support and people coming together that are the best of humanity and the best of God. And along with that, a certain amount of fearlessness on the part of some of those who battle the evils that surround us and threaten us so that we can be safe. Where does the strength come from when fiercely battling an illness or going into war zones to feed or help those in need, or for the many who are risking their lives for the right of all of us to survive. There is God. We live in difficult times, but yet every generation has seen some sense of loss or calamity. Many different peoples have dealt with horrific acts of injustice. We just saw a movie, the group of us that went to the movies, Irena's Vow, and this was a Polish girl, very young, and here she was, she found herself, she went to her home, her family wasn't there, the Hitler's people had taken it over, and she had to really compromise herself in order to save the 11 Jews that were sewing in the basement of the house that she was supposed to be in charge of. And so she made a choice. She could have looked the other way. She could have gone on and lived a cushy life in an even bigger house, but she chose to save these people and put her life on the line. And then she was rewarded later on. She eventually ended up, it's like what goes around comes around. She took in one more Jewish man, a 12th, that, and I don't want to, hopefully you'll see it, but she took him in, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but she took him in, and some of the others felt it was a risk. Also, someone got pregnant. She said, "We got to have this baby. It's against my religion." She was Catholic. But she was later reconnected with these people. That young man that baby grew into a man. And when she was in a detention camp, once the war was lost on their side, it was that Jewish family that saved her and got her out with a Jewish passport. So what we put out in the world, we get back. Sometimes we see it right away. And when she was in the detention camp, she met a nice man, and 5 years later, she was reunited with him, and she married him and had a wonderful life. So we don't know when we're in the middle of the darkness and the chaos what or why, but God is there. And sometimes it just has to play out. And it's hard for us to relinquish that control. This Shabbat, God promises in our Haftarah portion to send Elijah before us. Why again? What did I just tell you? Because Elijah is meant to watch us and check, as I said before, whether we've been naughty or nice, to see if we are worthy of ultimate redemption, and to see if we really are justified in having it come our way at this time, a perfect world of purity and peace. We have to earn it. And a little bit I'm talking to the choir here because I know how hard and how much many of you work to support Judaism and give in your own lives, but there's always more. We have to hold on to our faith and belief that the darkness will pass over us, as it has in the past. In the story that we will recount in just a few days, we are meant to remember that. Miracles do happen, but not without a lot of work on our part. We have to be proactive. We have to go forward into the seed and not be swallowed up by Pharaoh and the chariots. And we have to have a faith that is unwavering in that which is unseen. As we confront our chametz, that which puffs us up and does not serve us, ego, pride, hatred, jealousy, the things that eat away at our soul, our relationships, and create dis-ease and ultimately disease. Let us remember the parshiot that have surrounded us these last few Shabbatot, speaking of all this leprosy and disease, and reach to do that which is necessary to cleanse ourselves. Passover is our actual new year, as I've said. We became a nation. We became a people devoted to the one true God. Let us rekindle our faith and renew our commitment so that when we open our doors at our Seder, Elijah will come with a promise of peace, peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace in our community, peace in our relationships, and peace for all humanity and beyond. Peace in the Middle East, and for all who are waging war against these horrific evils that threaten to destroy us. Let the darkness pass over, and let a new light be seen. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.